Well, day 4 of the campaign trail came to an interesting end for the Carney Liberals. We had a couple different announcements. You had Carney in Windsor, then he went up to Kitchener-Waterloo, then you had Pierre Poilievre, who was announcing his tax cuts for seniors, which was a welcomed policy for many. But what was interesting, what was the curveball, was Mr. Mark Carney under the bridge in Windsor, looking the bridge over to the United States. Then finding out, while on the campaign trail, Donald Trump drops 25% tariffs on our auto industry here in Canada. Oh, baby. Mark Carney's like, oh, man, I'm on the campaign trail. Now I got to talk about these stinking tariffs. This is going to take me off my messaging, man. What's going on? Essentially was a mayday call for everyone on the campaign trail, whether your Poilievre's team or your Carney's team. Carney had to address it. Poilievre put his messaging out, how he was going to address it. But what was interesting was how Carney addressed it. Pierre Poilievre did a very Pierre Poilievre job. He said, knock it off. This is ridiculous. We will not allow you to keep pushing us around, yada, yada, yada. Mark Carney tried to come in with that messaging. And I don't know, he's looking rough, looking rough. Because as he was pressed by a reporter in French if he was going to talk to Donald Trump about these tariffs. And this was his response.
Okay. Est-ce qu'il est temps de parler à Monsieur Trump?
Oui. Pour le deuxième partie, oui.
Vous allez l'appeler?
Oui.
Quand?
On verra. Tôt.
Demain?
OK, tôt. Ça suffit, hein. Mais en ce qui concerne les options, nous avons des options, même pendant une...
So the reporter asked him, are you going to talk to Trump? Are you going to call him? He said, yes. When are you going to do it? You can do it tomorrow? He's like, soon. I'll do it soon. No, shut up. That's literally what that is the French translation of what just happened there. It was weird because it almost triggered something for me, for my youth, if I'm being quite frank. When I heard him say, ça suffit, I was like, shoot, I haven't heard that in forever. Last time someone spoke like that to me, it was my teachers from my French immersion days. That's the last time I heard that. I was like, dang, he just said that to a reporter. He literally told the reporter to shut up. I was like, gee, Mark Carney doing Mark Carney things. What can I say? The accident waiting to happen. Treating people like absolute trash is what he is. It's what he does. That's who you're going to get. A leader, a prime minister who puts Justin Trudeau to shame in seeing other people below him. How dare you ask him about what he's going to do? He has the title prime minister. Big tariffs just got dropped in our country. What are you going to do? Are you going to call Trump? We know you've been avoiding him for a long time. We know you're kind of scared to talk to him. Are you going to talk to him? Is it going to happen? Ça suffit. Yikes. He got 2 questions from the press on this. And then this is how it ended.
In terms of the seriousness with which we're taking this and the seriousness of our response. Thank you very much.
I don't know.
Just like that. Done for the day. 2 questions and bounced. To a degree, I can understand why this happened because he's on a campaign trail. He's got places to be. He had to be in Kitchener-Waterloo shortly after this. I understand what happened there. However, the optics don't look great. They look like you're scared. They look like you're not ready for this. They look like that you're not strong enough for this. That's what the optics read as. What's frustrating is then he goes to his Kitchener-Waterloo rally and all he does is talk tough. Oh man, I hate to say it. He is like Justin Trudeau in that way. When the going gets tough, the man disappears. You have to put an APB out for that, brother. But man, when he's with his base, people that like him, all of a sudden he starts talking tough. That's what you're going to get with a Mr. Carney. Not much different from Justin Trudeau. But this is what is happening, which is adding a little curveball to what is going on in this election journey. Mackenzie Gray saying, breaking, Mark Carney is set to fly back to Ottawa tonight to hold a Canada-US cabinet meeting tomorrow morning in person. The LPC campaign was supposed to fly to Quebec City tonight and have an event there tomorrow. So this brings up a bit of an interesting situation, right? Because he holds the title of Prime Minister, he actually has to tend to this because it's a kind of an immediate issue he has to get to. And opens up an opportunity for Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives, where, they're going to be tied up in these meetings tomorrow morning, and they're likely going to try and get back on the campaign trail tomorrow afternoon or early evening. So this is an opportunity which we know the media is going to be fawning all over Carney and trying to figure out what's happening at these meetings and what the response is going to be. And I know it's the fanfare is going to come with that. That's the reality. But this is an opportunity since he's being tied up with this. Poilievre now can get out on the campaign trail on his end, which I believe he's out west on the West Coast, and he can get his messaging out without really any counter programming from the Carney campaign. Again, a little bit of a curveball into this election cycle with what Trump did. So we'll see what happens. The only drawback of that is that he is on the West Coast, which is what works out to be a 3-hour difference between that and Eastern time. So by the time Carney's done with his meetings, which is 11 a.m. noon Eastern time, it's going to be 8 a.m., 9 a.m. in BC, which, there are times like they'll be doing events that early, but I don't know if it'll be enough time to be able to capitalize on the opportunity. So we'll see what happens. Tomorrow morning spells a very interesting opportunity for the Poilievre campaign, see if they can capitalize on Mark Carney having to go to Ottawa to attend to this issue. And then it also presents a second issue for the Carney campaign, is the fact they're supposed to be in Quebec City. Since his French isn't that good, he's trying to avoid the TVA debates, or TVA. Blanchette's been tearing him up. He's not been, faring too well in terms of the media side of things with Quebec these days. So him dodging Quebec City, he can say, well, I'm tending to the country's issues, I'm patriotic, this is for Canada, yada, yada. We'll see if that messaging works. But the fact it came on the time they're supposed to go to Quebec City, we'll see what happens. It's looking rough for the Carney campaign on that front, at least when it comes to Quebec itself. But getting back to the campaign, Kitchener-Waterloo last night, I had a couple issues with a couple things Mark Carney said. He claims to want to bring people together. He claims to want to unite Canada. 13 economies into one. Yet he just continues on with divisive rhetoric. Name-calling Pierre Poilievre, name-calling Trump, and we'll show a couple of highlights here.
So in 9 days between when I was sworn in and when the Governor General accepted to call the election, in those 9 days, we did more than Pierre Poilievre has imagined in all of his decades in politics. And that, in fairness, that's a low bar. Because it's not clear he has an imagination. I'm just saying, most of his lines, it's just mimicking Donald Trump. Mr. President.
Look at that look on the face, eh? He revels in causing that division. He revels in name calling. He revels in the fact that he'll roast Pierre Poilievre. But Josh, Poilievre's done the same thing. He's throwing stuff at Carney. I'm like, yeah, that has happened. But it's been on factual issues. Things that the dicey and shady things he's been up to. He's just calling and shining a light on it. And people find it funny. They'll make fun of him for it. That's just the reality. This is just stupid. I did more in my 1 week than Pierre Poilievre has done in his whole career. Which is not true. But here we are. He's going to keep pushing that he is somehow some great businessman who's going to bring greatness to Canada. Holy jumping. And he continues on with this BS as he goes off on Donald Trump as well.
President Trump has been claiming that Canada isn't a real country. He wants to break us so he can own us. We will never, ever let that happen. That's right. We will never, ever let that happen. But elbows up. More than just elbows.
But again, he will always delve into the more divisive politics. Get people going up here, Poilievre. Get people going on Donald Trump. They're trying to own us. Oh, man. Yes, am I frustrated that Donald Trump has given a second life to this Liberal Party? Yes. But anyone who's paying attention knows that the 51st state crap is just rhetoric, and it always has been. But the Liberals and the Liberal propaganda arm, which is our media here in this country, has jumped on it and got Canadians believing that Trump really wants to own us. It is just rhetoric from Donald Trump, but people don't really know that because they're simple-minded in a lot of ways. But it's not going to keep the Liberals from leaning into it, causing fear, anxiety in the people to maintain power. Sounds awfully familiar, doesn't it? It's how Trudeau's ruled for the past 9 years. Mark Carney's just picking up where he left off. Stoke division, stoke fear, divide the people, get them fighting each other so you can maintain power. And as he said here, he's trying to own us. And I think the thing I find most interesting is, no, Mark Carney is the one who is being installed by the World Economic Forum so they can drive down our wages and extract value out of the workers and rob us of our resources. That's what's really happening, and he is the face of it. That's why I found that statement a little funny and humorous, because here we are. But on the theme of name calling, well, Mr. Mark Carney got his first heckler of the campaign. Gee, this guy didn't hold back. Oh my gosh.
Autochtone.
How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein?
Honnêtement. Et il y aura
That got a little uncomfortable, didn't it? I'm not a fan of that rhetoric personally. When I first heard the guy say it, I was like, oh, he did not just say that. I was like, oh my gosh. And to those who are just listening via audio and you didn't fully catch it, the man essentially asked, how many children were you involved with the Jeffrey Epstein? Essentially, I'll leave it at that. That obviously got the people going, but it was interesting seeing Mark Carney, like the reaction. He was reasonably offended by that, whether true or not. Espouse that you are into children in front of a group of people. It's gonna be read as offensive. And so I was like, shoot, that boy's wild. That was wild to say that. But again, on this whole issue of division, look how Mark Carney is conducting this campaign. Look at the politics he is involving himself in. And look at the reaction we're seeing from Alberta and we're seeing from Quebec. And it should worry you. Here's Danielle Smith in the legislature in Alberta, laying it loud and clear for Mark Carney and Liberals of how they feel about them. And my friends, this country elects a Liberal Party. This country is in serious trouble.
Off to the U.S. yet again to try and speak to Americans, this time through the second largest podcaster in the world, whose audience is made up of exactly the people we need to persuade to convince their president to change course on tariffs against Canada. And what does Team Carney want me to do? They want me to abandon my post, remain in Alberta, and do absolutely nothing to defend our province. They want me to cower in the face of Eastern media pundits and politicians who favor political grandstanding to effective diplomacy. I'm fiercely criticized for going into the lion's den to change the hearts and minds of the very Americans that we need on Canada's side to avoid a trade war with the most powerful economy on earth. They want this lady and Alberta to just sit down and shut up. Well, here is my response to that. I will not be silent. Alberta will not be silent. We will not be pushed around and called traitors for merely having the courage to actually do something about our nation's and province's predicament other than merely indulging in self-righteous tantrums. And I, for one, will never be silenced by the party in Ottawa that has sold out our beloved province for the last 10 years with the help of their NDP collaborators.
Sheesh. Danielle Smith saying, I might be a woman, but who's your daddy? Oh, man. I love the courage, as she stated here. I loved the bravado. I love no, we're done with this. And the fact that she also mentioned in a previous press conference last week, saying, if you don't tend to our demands, we are going to 100% have a unity crisis in this country, meaning Alberta's on the way out. You elect the Liberal Party, you will have chosen to break apart this country. That's just the reality. It sucks, it's uncomfortable, but that's what we're currently facing at the moment. You have Danielle Smith saying some very reasonable things, being alienated, being ostracized, being othered by the political elites in Ottawa because she dares to try and have a conversation with the people who are holding this trade war over our heads and trying to have conversations with the other side. She's being deemed as a traitor. And she's like, nah, enough. This is stupid. Your self-righteous tantrums and your political posturing has gotten us nowhere, and it will get us nowhere. And so I'm going to go over there and try to talk to them and try to see if it can change some hearts and minds, which is way more than any prime minister or MP and that Liberal Party has done ever in the past 3 months on this issue. Sorry, my bad, 4 months. And so you have Mark Carney on the campaign trail and all the other crazy Liberals saying elbows up, which is just a slogan, doesn't mean anything. They're just using it to whip the people into a frenzy and do nothing as per usual. And then you had Blanchette on the campaign trail say this on behalf of Quebec.
Is what we want to be, partners, but not submitted, not having a boss over us, and protecting and promoting our own specific interest. Afterwards, we will again have to think about the very good idea of making choices of our own, and that's making Quebec a country.
Blanchette saying we're going to play nice for now, but when October comes in 2026, a referendum is on the table, and we want to become our own nation. In just 10 years, this Liberal Party has put our confederation on the brink. And I'll just leave it at that. You vote in the Liberals, you are effectively saying, I don't want Canada to be Canada anymore. You're being lied to. If you think Carney's the answer, you're being lied to. He is not the answer for a unified country. Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives are the only ones who want to unify the country across provincial boundaries, not pit provinces against each other so they can maintain federal power and centralize everything. As much as Carney wants to play and say the right things, his actions over the past 4 years as economic advisor say it very differently, as he fueled the divisiveness of Justin Trudeau's Liberal Party for the past 4 years. So we'll see what today brings. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out.